This is one-on-one session with the Forum IAS founder and director Ayush Sinha. In this session, students are asked questions to test their preparedness for the personality test. One-on-one sessions are not mock panel sessions.
Let us just have a few questions, Archita. Is that good?
Yeah.
All right. So, Archita, can you briefly tell me about yourself?
Okay, so I am Archita. I was born in Patiala but brought up in Delhi. I've done my bachelor's in engineering, computer engineering from Netaji Subhash Institute of Technology, NSIT. Post that, I've worked as a software engineer with Microsoft for a year and a half. Since 2019, I've been preparing for UPSC.
All right. Archita, so you worked with Microsoft for some time and you're a computer science engineer.
Yeah.
Um, I hear these terms a lot, blockchain and cryptocurrency. I am not from a technology background. Can you tell me in simple terms, what is this blockchain technology?
So the blockchain technology is an open distributed ledger which will record all transactions or all kinds of communication through a distributed ledger and it is anonymous. So this is a blockchain technology. I can explain with an example. Whenever a new transaction occurs, there's a consensus protocol which will validate the transaction. Once it is validated, the new transaction or node is added to the previous ledger. So this is how blockchain technology works.
All right, Archita, so if it is open, is it not insecure?
It's open, but it's cryptographically secured. So no change can be made to the blockchain or to the ledger unless it's cryptographically authenticated.
Wonderful. Archita, what is the current legal position of the government on cryptocurrency?
So in the latest budget, the government has come up with two proposals. One, the RBI will have a digital currency. So it will be from the RBI that the currency will come. And the second is the government is going to tax crypto assets at 30%.
So has the government been willing to give to these Bitcoin and other places? Is the government allowing their trade, or is the government giving it a legal status?
Uh, I believe that the government is recognizing the boom in the cryptocurrency industry. However, apart from the taxation, there isn't a clear regulatory policy.
So you are from Punjab,
Yeah.
Archita. What are the major challenges before Punjab as a state today?
There are numerous challenges that I can think of. First, economically, there was a time when Punjab was the highest earning state. However, today it's the 16th in terms of the PCI. So, one is the economical issues with the state. The second is the need to diversify from agriculture and curb the deindustrialization in areas such as Mandi Gobindkar. Uh, Talking about socially, the drug abuse among the youth is a big challenge, and so politically, there were also issues of sacrilege and communal disharmony very recently that we observed in 2021.
Okay, with respect to the communal disharmony and sacrilege, is that a challenge or is that an isolated event, or is it a statewide phenomenon?
So I see it as some events that have occurred. However, the demands to criminalize sacrilege and have strict punishments for that is a challenge that I see.
Ashita, so Punjab is demanding for Chandigarh.
Yes, sir.
On what grounds is Punjab demanding Chandigarh?
So this is a recent controversy that has come up once the union government has amended the service rules. So according to the new rules, the employees in Chandigarh will follow the central rules and not the Punjab cadre rules. So this is the bone of contention between Punjab and the union. And for these reasons, Punjab has laid a claim to Chandigarh.
What is your opinion? Should Chandigarh be given to Punjab?
Since I belong to Punjab, but I currently live in Haryana. I think both of these states have an equal claim to Chandigarh, and since both the states share Chandigarh as the capital city, I think the status quo of Chandigarh being a union territory is the best arrangement.
You opted for Indian Foreign Service as your first preference.
Yes, sir.
What is the motivation behind this?
So when I was 15, I represented my school in Germany for a Model United Nations, and I got a first-hand taste of diplomacy and how international organizations work. Also, when I was working at Microsoft, I worked and collaborated with teams across the world. So I was fascinated by the different cultures that I experienced while talking to them. And I think my technical expertise, I can use that to augment India's foreign policy.
There are 6 principles which the External Affairs Minister has enunciated as being the principles, behind India's policy on the Ukraine issue. Can
Yes.
you tell me what are the 6 principles?
So I don't remember all of them, but one is, of course, India's national interest. Then it also mentions about in India exercising strategic autonomy and how our first goal was to evacuate citizens. So this is all I can remember. I am aware that he did mention the 6 principles in the parliament, but I'm unable to recall all of them right now.
What is Vinyasa yoga? I've heard of different. This is the first time I'm hearing Vinyasa yoga. What is it? Can you tell me more about it?
Yes, sir. So Vinyasa yoga is a form of yoga which essentially weaves different asanas into a single flow or posture. The focus is on gracefully exiting one posture or asana and moving on to another with rhythmic breathing, which we call Ujjayi breathing.
What is the last Indian contemporary non-fiction book you have read?
So very recently, I read this book called India versus UK by a former permanent representative to the United Nations, Mr. Syed Akbaruddin.
What does the book say? Tell me a few things which you found remarkable about the book or something that you came across which fascinated you.
So this book essentially talks about India's elections to the International Court of Justice. What struck me in this book was that the confidence that we can see in India's foreign policy. The author mentions how we actually contested 3 simultaneous elections, and we were last entry into the ICJ elections. And yet, we not only won the seat, but we also could win the seat by defeating UK, which is a permanent member and has been having a seat at the ICJ since the beginning. So this
How
was
was he able to defeat the UK in these elections?
so there's an interesting story behind it. First, the author mentions how he collaborated among the whole team collaborated. Interestingly, there was also a computer scientist there who worked on data. He took out data, analyzed previous elections. Then we lobbied with other delegates from other countries, and after collaborating and using and exercising diplomacy, we were able to garner more votes than the United Kingdom's delegate.
All right, Archita. Archita, what is the meaning of your name?
So it means to be worshipped. It comes from Archana, which means to worship or prayer.
So, what was the motivation of your parents when they gave you this name?
So I believe in our culture, people, especially parents, they tend to see God in their offspring. So I think, and the girl connection, maybe that is why they named me as an epitome of goddess, maybe.
All right. One last question, Archita. Is our policy on if you were a our policy on Ukraine is being criticized as deviating from our moral ideal position. If you were a diplomat who had a say in deciding and designing such a policy, Would you have tried to influence the government's current position on the Ukraine issue?
Sir, I believe, as we discussed earlier, also our policy is based on 6 principles, and I think India's stand on the Ukraine issue is being determined by India's national interests. Having said that, India does believe in morals and principles, and the way we have given humanitarian aid to Ukraine, we have exported tons of wheat, for example. That stands as a testimony to the beliefs in morals of India. And we have been time again reiterating our belief in dialogue over any kind of coercion or force.
So
So,
would you influence or not influence the government policy?
so, in my personal opinion, I am satisfied with what India is doing right now. So, I wouldn't want to influence it.
All right, Archita, your interview is over.
Thank you, sir.